Welcome to Kids Recall. In today's video, we'll be going through the 2008 movie Bolt. It's time to recall. Let's get started. Turn on subtitles and spoilers ahead. The movie begins at a pet store where puppies are playing in a pen. Except for the white puppy who's playing with a squeaky carrot toy, all of the puppies are following each other and moving in a pack. A 7-year-old girl named Penny comes into the store and buys the white puppy, giving it a collar with the name tag Bolt. Penny and Bolt are in the park 5 years later when Penny receives a phone call from her father, who tells her that something's come up at work and he won't be home for a while. The sinister Dr. Calico sneaks up on him as he warns Penny not to return to the house. Penny's father assures her not to worry and that Bolt will protect her before being stopped. Video footage shows her father genetically modifying Bolt, giving him a range of superpowers as well as the unique black lightning bolt mark on his flank. Back to the plot, Penny employs improved binoculars to spy on one of Dr. Calico's associates, who's communicating with him through holographic video. Dr. Calico claims that he knows how to get Penny's father to confess his secrets. All they need to do is uncover a particular item first. Calico's accomplice exits the premises, and Penny and Bolt trail behind. They follow him through an alleyway where he vanishes and a vehicle is seen rushing towards them. Bolt charges head-on into the automobile, which flips over his head and crashes upside down behind him. Calico's colleague is still alive, but confined in the automobile, and Penny has Bolt hold the car over the edge of a bridge in order to force him to reveal the whereabouts of Calico. Calico is clearly in Bolivia, but they've been spotted again. Penny took out a fold-up scooter and flew down the highway, Bolt at her side, while a swarm of helicopters and motorcycle bad men pursue them. She finds a flight leaving for Bolivia on her helmet computer, so they hurry to the airport. Bolt defeats the evil men by using his many talents, such as super jumping to leap about, heat vision to blow up the helicopters, and super speed to drag Penny away from them. One of the evil men pulls out a frisbee-shaped bomb and connects it to a petrol tanker moving near a school bus. Penny orders Bolt to retrieve it, so he temporarily leaves her and rips the device off, placing it on a bad guy's head. When the evil guy realizes what he's done, he facepalms himself on the forehead with his electrified glove, accidentally killing the remaining chopper. Penny and Bolt go on to the airport after dispatching all the bad people, but they are met by an army of Calico's forces. Helicopters, tanks, automobiles, troops, and so on that extend for kilometers. Penny orders Bolt to bark, and Bolt prepares himself before unleashing his super bark, a supersonic explosion that practically blasts the entire army away. After Bolt has beaten the army, Penny pulls him up and snaps a photo with him on her camera, laughing at him and telling him, "You're my good boy." She walks off to the side and enters a trailer with Bolt's name on the side. After the door is closed, all the bad guys get up. The background lifts up, and people start clearing away the wreckage, revealing that the whole thing was actually part of a movie set for an adventurous, action-packed television series, Bolt. The TV program's creators have fooled Bolt his entire life in order to provide a more realistic performance, organizing the filming in such a manner that Bolt believes the television show is genuine and he truly has superpowers. Penny hangs the shot she took on the wall among other similar photographs. Bolt is still terrified because he believes he's still in danger, so he stands at the entrance and growls in defense mode. Penny attempts to divert his attention by telling him she's all right and that he's already saved her. But nothing she does, from feeding him to luring him with toys, even his old squeaky carrot, gets him to move away from the door. Finally, Penny's phone rings and she must go, locking Bolt inside the trailer. Penny's mother and agent meet her outside the trailer, surrounded by a handful of other staff members. Penny asks her agency whether she may bring Bolt home for the weekend. The annoyance-inducing agent gives her a lot of indirect language before ultimately saying no because Bolt is not allowed to get off the set. Penny complains that Bolt never gets to be a real dog. They then exit the set. Two of Dr. Calico's pet cats wander in a bit later. Because one of the cats is new, the other informs him how Bolt believes everything is true, and they enjoy tormenting him by playing along. They scale Bolt's trailer, open the sunroof, and tease him, informing him that even though he and Penny have escaped this time, they will return. Back on the show the next day, Penny and Bolt sneak into Dr. Calico's lair to try and save her father. But this time we see how all the cameras are disguised and how some of the special effects are performed. When production for the latest episode is finished, Bolt runs from his on-set trailer, believing Penny has been kidnapped by a television villain. He tries to shatter a window, knocks himself out, and falls into a box of styrofoam peanuts. Bolt is transferred from Hollywood to New York City with no one knowing. He awakens in New York on the opposite side of the nation, where the boxes have been delivered. When the man emptying the boxes notices one of them moving and opens it, Bolt leaps out, fleeing into the streets of New York. He spots what he believes is a capsule holding Penny, but it's actually a portable toilet with a sign like Calico's eye on it. He chases it, knocking it off the vehicle transporting it. When Penny isn't inside, he assumes she's been transferred, and he has no idea where to search. Mittens, a female alley cat that bullies birds out of their food, encounters him in New York. Bolt grabs Mittens and demands that she deliver him to Penny. Mittens has no idea what he's talking about, so Bolt drags her over a bridge and threatens to throw her into traffic if she doesn't give him what he wants. Mittens believes he's insane and eventually lies and claims she'll bring him to Penny so he won't abandon her. She notices a Hollywood address on the back of his collar tag and informs him that this is where Penny is staying. After Bolt binds her to his leash so she can't escape, she dives into a dumpster behind a restaurant and pulls out one of those corny maps that display the location of restaurants in every state. She demonstrates to Bolt that they are at one end of the nation and Penny is on the other. Bolt, assuming Mittens is a wicked foe working for Dr. Calico, coerces Mittens into assisting him in returning to Hollywood. Mittens obviously doesn't believe Bolt has superpowers and just thinks he's crazy, but she's bored on the voyage and questions what type of powers he has while sorting through the belongings in the moving truck. Mittens finds a baseball bat in one of the crates and keeps begging Bolt to keep talking as she gets it out of the box. Finally, Bolt admits to having a super bark as Mittens prepares to strike him with the bat, but it's too heavy for her, and she collides with a stack of boxes, throwing one of them down onto Bolt's skull. Bolt panics, leaping from the moving vehicle and sliding down a slope. Mittens is being pulled behind him, and Bolt is startled that the landing hurt because he's normally more impervious. His paw is bleeding, but he has no idea why, and he has no idea what blood is. Mittens threatens him with styrofoam peanuts from the truck, but he diverts her attention by remarking, "That's a strange position for a piano," and knocks it away. His stomach growls and he panics again, fearing Mittens has poisoned him. As their quest progresses, Bolt begins to discover that his superpowers aren't working, which he attributes to the influence of styrofoam on his body. Bolt, surprised by his first experience of pain and hunger, is instructed on how to act like a cute but needy puppy by Mittens and is rewarded with food. Mittens educates Bolt to beg so that when families see him outside their RVs, they toss food for the lovely pup. The hamster introduces himself as Rhino and expresses his delight at meeting Bolt, whom he describes as his hero. He even has a little black spot that resembles a lightning bolt, which he believes makes them seem like twins. Mittens is surprised that he knew about Bolt, and he's even more surprised when Bolt asks that Rhino can accompany them. Not only is Rhino an excessively eager moron, but she can't believe they want to leave the RV park. She believes they should stay since the new RVs will be passing through all the time, providing them with a comfortable place to sleep and a continuous supply of food. She doesn't understand why Bolt is so determined to save Penny. Bolt declares Penny to be his person, which Mittens dismisses. Penny is devastated by Bolt's departure when she returns to Hollywood. She believes he must be terrified, but her mother comforts her and tells her that Bolt isn't frightened of anything and will certainly return. Bolt and Rhino resolve to board a train by leaping on it as it passes beneath a bridge, despite Mittens' fears that they'll all be killed. Mittens realizes what's going on and asks whether the magic box had moving images on it, to which Rhino responds that it did, and that Bolt's photos were the greatest. Mittens realizes Bolt is only a TV dog as soon as they leap down, and of course, things don't go as planned. They travel to a suburban area where Mittens climbs a tree and Bolt growls at her. Mittens is enraged now that she knows the truth about Bolt, and when he refuses to believe her, she orders him to go ahead and blast her away with his super bark. Bolt braces himself, assuming his super bark stance, and lets loose with a massive one that does nothing. Despite his confusion, Bolt attempts again and again, while Mittens delivers disparaging remarks from the tree limb overhead. Mittens notices a vehicle approaching and tells Bolt to stop talking because they need to get away. However, Bolt continues to bark, and the vehicle notices them, and it's animal control. They grab Bolt and Mittens and put them in the truck to transport them to the animal shelter, while Rhino flees. Bolt and Mittens are separated and placed in different cages where they can't see one another. Bolt attempts many escapes, including looking at the lock and attempting to melt it with his laser eyes. Because none of his powers function, he concludes that the vehicle is constructed of styrofoam. He ignores Mittens as she attempts to convince him that he doesn't have superpowers and that his lightning bolt mark is only cosmetics. Mittens informs him that they're headed to a shelter where Bolt will be adopted, but she'll be there forever since she's not as adorable as he is. Meanwhile, Rhino discovers how to unzip his ball from the inside and pursues them. When the truck stops for petrol, he hops on, and while Bolt continues to bash his way out, he begins yanking on the lock. He finally frees it just as Bolt sprints at the door again, and it bursts open, throwing both him and Rhino into an adjacent field. Bolt is overjoyed by the confirmation that his abilities actually function, until he spots Rhino, who informs him that he unlocked the door from the outside. Bolt now learns that Mittens was correct all along and that he lacks any true power. Bolt and Rhino pursue the vehicle to the refuge, where they devise a method to infiltrate. Rhino wants to do it like an episode of Bolt's TV show, but Bolt believes they should be more sneaky since he knows it won't work that way in real life. Rhino's breath fogs up the inside of the ball, and he paints a smiling face on the glass with his finger. They save Mittens from the refuge and flee, enabling them to continue their quest. Meanwhile, the animals arrive at a roadway where Bolt and Mittens have an uneasy reunion. Bolt still wants to go to California because Penny is his person, and he has to protect her. Mittens still doesn't get it, but he's prepared to go along with him because they still need transportation. Rhino then spies a vehicle delivering home and jumps on it as it passes. Inside, Mittens believes that Bolt should learn how to be a normal dog, one that can beg and play with toys. So she shows him things like the toilet, which Bolt can't believe he's meant to drink from, the kitchen, which is basically his dog dish, and the fireplace. Meanwhile, Rhino is tinkering with a vent, talking into one end and having his voice come out of the other side of the house, severely aggravating them. Mittens discloses that she used to have owners but became wary of being owned and left when she got bored with them. And Bolt believes Mittens knows a lot about this type of thing. Mittens will not travel further than Las Vegas. She informs Bolt that his Hollywood existence is a sham and that there is no genuine affection for him there. Her passionate outburst reveals that she was originally a house cat, but was abandoned by her previous owner and left alone and declawed on the hard streets. Bolt refuses to believe Penny doesn't love him and walks away, wishing Mittens the best. Rhino convinces Mittens that they must assist him after learning of Bolt's disappearance, and the two set out to find him once more. Bolt enters the studio and finds Penny cuddling his doppelganger. He leaves broken-hearted, unaware that Penny still misses him, and that her devotion to the doppelganger was merely a part of the show's preparation. Mittens, who is perched on a jan tree in the studio, notices something Bolt does not: Penny telling her mother how much she misses Bolt. Mittens follows Bolt and explains after seeing Penny actually loves Bolt. Simultaneously, the Bolt impersonator panics during filming and accidentally knocks over several torches, igniting the soundstage and trapping Penny. Bolt comes and reunites with Penny inside the burning studio, and they are saved as they die of smoke inhalation. Penny and her mother later leave as their show agent tries to use the event for promotional purposes. Penny adopts Mittens and Rhino and relocates to a remote property to live a simpler, happier life with Bolt and her new pets. The show continues, but with Bolt's original replacement and a new substitute for Penny, whose look is described in the show as significant injuries demanding face reconstruction surgery and adopting an extraterrestrial abduction scenario. The film concludes here. Please subscribe for more videos like this. Turn on the notification and leave a like to help the channel out. And thank you for watching.